these teachings, it has been, the point has been made in the blessing to say that we have to turn ourselves and give the return of love, that God loves us unconditionally. So how do we turn ourselves? Is that when we create that focus, the practice of being the soul, that being of light, that we are able to give that return of that unconditional love from that supreme being, the divine being. So this morning we have Sister Rohini, who is going to join us. And Sister Rohini, I have met a few years ago, who had come to the center in Centurion to do the meditation course. And welcome, Sister Rohini.
Om Shanti, Sister Aruna, and
welcome
to everyone else on the group.
Thank you. So for me, I have seen how you have taken on the spiritual knowledge, the study, and have been so consistent using the spiritual study to help to change your life. And this consistency and this thirst that you've had, that you have made progress, and so many changes have come about in your life. So please share with us the changes that has come about, and how have you experienced the spiritual knowledge, the spiritual practices in your life, and what has been the outcome of that?
Thank you, Sister Aruna. Yes, I found that, with being like joining you guys and visiting you, we start, initially I heard about the Brahma Kumaris when I listened to Sister Shavani on YouTube, and that made me want to join the Brahma Kumaris because of how she spoke about looking at yourself and not looking outside to try and change your life. And that really resonated with me. And then obviously once I came to the Centurion meditation center, yes, and meeting yourself and Sister Kalpana, the peace I felt there, and it was just absolutely amazing. So with my meditation practices and also with the Zoom meetings that we've had all through the time of COVID and right up to now, I would say my life has changed completely. The person I used to be and the person I am is so different. I used to get angry very quickly. And on one of the morning programs, it said that anger is just a habit, and it was like I thought to myself, I never thought of it like that, and our home life at home is so peaceful. I feel peaceful. I feel joyful. And when challenges come, I'm not so like I don't feel such anxiety as I did before. I feel I'm able to cope with the challenges that I have on a daily basis, and that is all from just looking at myself, not trying to change people, just being stable in who I am.
Wonderful.
And then one of the other things that was quite a big change as well was that we became vegan at home about 14 months ago. And that also changed, my mind, my focus. And I think it intensified my practice and my meditations. So yes, it's been an absolutely wonderful experience.
Oh, wonderful. So Sister Rohini is a mother. Amir is now 21, yes. 21. And being a mother, you work in the corporate environment, and also you've started your own business. So just seeing how through your practices and keeping consistent and progressing in such growth that you were able to easily bring these changes and transform your life. So, I mean, it's really inspiring to see that although having so many other activities or roles that you play, that you are easily able to bring about that change and see the benefits, eh?
Yes, no, no, definitely. Even Amir tells me, you have changed so much. And I think it was because of him that I felt I needed to change, that I needed to show him, there's a better way of living. There's not to get consumed by people's opinions of you, and wanting people to, and for you basically looking at how people should be. So that was one of the things also that I looked at, that to give him a better understanding of life, and give him a stable footing in his life forward.
And that is so important for a young person to have that foundation and the base of coming from inside, and valuing your life, and using the goodness to be able to move forward and grow. Because I think our young people really need a foundation, a stable foundation, a basis to be working from. And really, I mean, your life has become so invaluable. I think when I see you, that just so consistent, and not letting yourself be fazed by whatever you need to do in your life, but saying is, how can I look at my life and see the benefits? Can I see how invaluable my life has become? And really, so please share a little bit more of what are the steps that you take when you are faced with a challenge, so that it doesn't bring you down.
Sister Aruna, the one thing I find that I've become so aware of my thoughts. I've become so aware of what I'm thinking, of what I'm doing, that when I get a negative thought, I immediately, well, not immediately, but I'm suddenly aware of it. And right at the beginning, I didn't realize that I had so many negative thoughts. That that really like surprised me. So when something does come up, I take a step back, and I think about it, and I don't react or respond immediately. And I look at things, and I give myself a little bit of time before I respond. And this morning, actually, something happened where I got in a WhatsApp message, um, and I think it would have thrown me before. I would have got angry. But I looked at it, and then I read it, and I left it, and then I read it again, and then I understood. Let me look at where this person is coming from, why they've sent the message. And then suddenly I realized, okay, no, I understand what she's saying. I really do. And then my response was completely different from what it would have been if I would have messaged immediately. And so that is how challenges that come up, I find that I can look at it, and look at it from where that person is coming from. And then I realize, you know what, it doesn't faze me. It really
Mm.
doesn't faze me anymore.
So it's wonderful that when yesterday Sister Dipti was referring to relationships, is having trust in relationships, and not becoming controlling. So even if someone does say something and doesn't make sense and is negative, that you are able to. So even your working relationships, you're using that knowledge of spirituality to not let yourself become full of anxiety and anger and because sometimes it does happen that you think, why can't this person understand? What are they talking about? I mean, are they, kind of things. But because of your knowledge and spiritual practices, that is helping you, right?
Mm.
The
Yes.
relationships with work as well.
Yeah. I found that relationships just get better and better. And I remember one time my sister, her husband was going through, he had a triple bypass, and then there was complications, this, that, and the other. And when I chatted to her, when she finished the conversation, she said, "It's always so nice to speak to you." And that made me feel like, oh, you know what, that it's so wonderful. I didn't expect that from her, and I thought, well, obviously I'm doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, because I think our whole demeanor, our vibrations, our feelings, definitely, they vibrate on a high frequency when we are connected to our own spirituality, to that divine source, who allows us to, connect to that real goodness, the real truth of who we really are. And the faith and the trust flows through our thoughts, our words, our feelings. So definitely, and there's more and more out there, souls that are experiencing such difficulties and don't know, if there's anyone who has a kind word or who has words of encouragement and upliftment. So really, I think it's wonderful to see you being such a pillar, for your sister and helping her through and seeing her through such things. Anything else, Sister Rohini, you would like to share?
um, I, I think the most important thing is my meditation practice, which I meditate in the morning, first thing in the morning, and then obviously in the evening before I go to bed. Um, but unfortunately, I still meditate with my eyes closed. I can't get to meditate. Sometimes I do meditate with my eyes open, but I find a better connection with myself when I meditate with my eyes closed. But obviously, I think it will take time. I'm
Yeah.
not where I want to be, but I definitely can see, the progress that I have made with my meditations, being in silence. I know I've got still a very long way to go, but it's always resonated with people that are so peaceful and are so, so stable in themselves, and that is definitely where I'd like to see myself.
So that's so wonderful, and I think, the more and more we experiment with those spiritual teachings or spiritual practices, we can then reap the benefits and we can see what is it, how did I react, or it's situations where, at times it made me angry or made me upset or anxious or whatever has been created, so that I use these spiritual practices to create a sense sorry, a sense of understanding, because often we don't see the situations of other people or what they're going through or whatever difficulties are, and so they just obviously using whatever experiences they've had, and just springboarding, and whether it made them angry or upset them in any way, then obviously that's how they just reacting, instead of responding. So when we develop and when we continue these spiritual practices, then it gives us that clarity. It opens our mind, it opens our heart to really see, um, from their point of view, or help them to say it's okay, being a little bit more sort of, calm or confident. Because if I don't reflect that vibration and feeling, then obviously they're not going to feel it. I also react in that way. So when I keep that spiritual practices in my awareness, in my mind, then that allows me and helps me to give them that feeling of it's okay. Whatever you're going through doesn't matter. If you were angry and you shouted at me and you said things that you didn't really want to say, because later on they always realize that I shouldn't have said that. So at that moment in time, it's so important that when we're stable within our own energy, in our own thoughts, our words, our actions, then that stability, that upliftment and hope then transfers into that person, isn't it?
Yes, no, that's so true. And I also find that, if I'm going into a difficult situation, just take a few minutes before I go into it and say, be calm, be stable. And then I find walking into that situation is so much better, because I've I've I'm not going with the intent that, oh, you know what, this is a difficult situation and I don't know what I'm going to what's going to happen, and that sort of thing. And then I just find that the whole atmosphere and everything just seems to settle down, and it goes better than what I expected.
And so it is also the preparation, that morning time when we wake up with gratitude, with a heart full of love, that we give thanks to the divine, that supreme being. We connect to ourselves, giving ourselves that appreciation, that thankfulness, having a heart that is open with a lot of love. So that spiritual study is important, because we allow our mind to be filled with words that are, uplifting, encouraging. We attaining some jewels, some. So the preparation for the morning time, as you have been practicing for a few years now, that preparation is important so that it sets into your day, right?
Yes, no, definitely, Sister Aruna. And I go for a walk in the morning, and in my complex, and I look up at the sky and I look at the clouds, and it gives me such a sense of peace and such a sense of stillness, and I can actually feel, when I look up, I can actually feel Baba like looking down on me. I can actually get that feeling that when I'm walking, then I will stop, lean against the wall, and just like look up, because it's such a wonderful feeling. And and then you also look at Mother Earth, and you think how abundant, the earth is continuously giving, and we look at our lives and we always look at what we don't have, things like that. When if we just look around, we will see that, everything is there for us, everything we need is just there for us, and then one of the, it's it it like you say, it definitely sets the day,
Yeah.
once you do your meditation and connect with,
Yes.
with the supreme, definitely sets your day.
And we have such a deep connection with nature. I mean, our body is made out of the five elements. So that creates a connection, because there's the interplay between ourselves, the soul, nature, and that supreme soul. So we need to keep that connection very fresh and lively. So Sister Rohini, any last words or comments?
No, I'd just like to say that my journey has been so fantastic. And I want to thank you, Sister Runa and
Oh,
Sister Kalpana, to always checking up on me, seeing how I'm doing, always finding out how Amir is, and always being there. And I know that if I do have a problem, if I do have a challenge, that I can call you, and you will give me the right advice. So having that stability, and having that strength that you guys have, uh, that I know I can take from that is wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just remember that it's that our Supreme Father Divine, He's the one that gives us that strength and energy to help each other.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Coming through you.
Thank you. But thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you for coming and sharing your experiences. It was really wonderful. Thank you, and lots of love to Amir.
Okay. Thanks very much. Thanks.
Bye. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand you over to Sister Raksha. Good morning, Sister Raksha. How are you? You are unmute.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, great.
Good morning.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Great. Wonderful to listen in on all these beautiful chats. Yes. So thank you, Rohini. And thanks, Aruna. It was a beautiful start to this Thursday morning. And thanks so much. So